ancient journey is about to begin. A journey past the Pillars of Hercules, over the Urals and beyond, to the cradle of shamanism, Siberia. A journey in search of our forgotten roots. Tseren Sarenbu, the most venerated Mongolian shaman, will help us to enter the magic of Lake Baikal, accompanying us through sky and sea to the mythic island of Olkhon. Tseren Sarenbu is here for the first time. It's a great honor to be here with him. His prayer powerfully bursts forth after decades of silence. The voices sing in his ears. The spirits take possession of his body. His gaze goes beyond the mountain. Lake Baikal, the largest freshwater reserve in the world, has been called sea since ancient times. It is said that you can see your destiny in your reflection over the surface of its mysterious abyss and its pure water. At sunset, we looked at our reflections. We asked about our futures. The sacred sea sent us back images of a journey to remote places among unknown people. Since ancient times, the shamans met around the sacred Lake Baikal to pay homage to the 13 northern divinities and to the 13 princes of Olkhon, and in particular to the powerful Oikon Bave, whose abode is found at the center of Lake Baikal on the island of Olkhon. Today is June 21st, 1996. After 70 years of communism, the moment has come to make an ancient ritual live again, the Tayalgan. At first, the shamans had to work in secret, praying by night so as not to incur the wrath of the party. Now, finally, they can once again freely gather under the eternal blue sky to ask for a response from the gods. You can prostrate to the Mother Earth. It's possible to purify sickness and unhappiness by asking for the shaman's help. You can be freed from negativity with a strong and powerful spray of vodka. You can pray together, invoking the gods with the sound of the drum, or make milk offerings to clean your way from obstacles, and then ask for their mercy and thank them for their benevolent help. Stalin's ferocious religious repression forbade the shamanic elders to develop their role of supporting the younger shamans. But today, Tseren Saran has taken charge of this task. After 70 years, the gods have granted his arrival to the island of Olkon to give new nourishment and authority to a world that was left without a guide. He's here to heal this painful fracture. The shamans are overjoyed by his presence and intone ancient songs. Now it's Leonti Abzayevich's turn, decorated with the title of Tsaran, to be the guardian of the ancient teachings. And next will be Nadia Stepanova's turn to invoke the Buryatian gods. Since 1994, Nadia has accompanied us on our shamanic journey. With her maternal ways, sometimes authoritarian, sometimes protective, she has introduced us to the world of invisible forces, the shamanic world of the primordial eagle, Bokolikara. The Tengri, the Buryatian gods, have given her the gift of vision since her childhood. She can do divinations using sugar or by looking into vodka. She can see signs and colors or a film running with the images of someone's life. After perestroika, the Buryatian people lived through very difficult times caused by the recession that followed the fall of the Soviet Union. Nadia's task was to regenerate her people's culture, to teach the prayers to the 99 gods. To revive the forgotten rituals and honor the sacred fire. This was the first ritual to be celebrated in the district of Tunkinsky after perestroika, and Nadia is leading it with the help of shaman Vladimir Ukoyev. Outwardly, Nadia appears far from the images that one has of the Siberian shamans. Initially, she didn't wear the traditional clothing or use the drum. Even for her, everything was new. Nadia was obliged to accept the call against her will, and her mother, Anna, paid with her life her attempt to block the God's will. Now Nadia knows her mission, and her people remind her of it every day. During the celebration of the rituals, many people ask to be purified with vodka, the most powerful purifier for releasing sickness and burning negativity. Harmony, material and spiritual wealth must be created where it is necessary. One has to work so that the elders can hear a consoling word for their old age, and pray to the gods so that the young can retain their trust in the future. In the region of Kurunkan, Margarita, a shaman from these mountains, accompanies us to the homeland of Buchanayon, considered the ancestor of the Buryatian people. In Allah, there are two mountains that represent the masculine and the feminine. It is here that you come to pray for having children. This rock, shaped like a bull, is the sacred image of Buchanayon. He continues living here within our prayers. We mustn't forget the spirits. Nothing is written about them in books. Because of this, we must learn from the elders and honor their knowledge. There is a very famous shamanic tree found in Mongolia. The elders told us there were two sister shamans who came from Buryatia and were killed out of envy by Mongolian shamans. Their spirits began to wander the mountains and then found refuge in these two trees. In the 30s, though, the local Soviets decided to cut these trees to destroy the sacred place. With great difficulty, the workers were able to cut one, but at the end of the day, they died unexplainably, and so no one else dared to continue. Even today, many people journey all the way here to ask for help. In 1995, following Bokolikara, the primordial eagle, we were among the first foreigners to enter the Republic of Tuva, at the border with Mongolia. Hairakan, the Bear Mountain, is the protector of this ancient land. This is the land of the shamans. They inform us as soon as we arrive with pride in their voices. Thanks to the high barrier of the Sayan mountain, Tuva has been isolated from the commercial routes of silk and tea. This millennial isolation from the world lends to it a unique magic and an uncommon appeal. The people still live in yurts, the traditional homes of the nomads, with which they move from pasture to pasture within the infinite space of the taiga. The rhythm of the days is marked by ancient rituals. At sunrise, they go right away to get water at the river for the necessities of the entire day. The head of the family, Huler Ol, concentrates on the preparation of the smetana, a delicious cream made from milk. While his wife Aida prepares the reserve of butter and the provisions of dried cheese for the winter. The young grind the millet that here is called shamanic food. The shamans are often approached by people to find answers to their questions. The old shaman Kirgits has come all the way to Chadan to purify a girl. Aisu is bothered by continual headaches, voices that disturb her ears, and unexplainable attacks of epilepsy. The family fears that it is the sickness of nature. Here in Tuva, the shamanic call has come to be defined in this way. In 1993, in Tuva, the first shamanistic conference was held. It was organized thanks to Professor Mongush Kenin Lapsan. The Tuvinians are an animist people, and I, who have been a researcher at the Academy of Sciences since the 70s, without regarding the difficulties and prohibitions, have visited the diverse provinces of Tuva to gather testimonies of this ancient culture, interviewing the shamans that have continued to work in hiding. In this way, I have contributed to the conservation of the historical and literary heritage of the Tuvinian people. I've been the promoter of the rebirth of shamanism after perestroika, so much so that the shamans themselves elected me president of the Tuvinian shamans. In 1993, I founded the first shamanic clinic, the Durgur, which in the Tuvinian language means shamanic drum, and I give support to the shamans that work here. Kanchir Ol, ex-veterinarian, rides his celestial horse with great dexterity. And Oleg has learned not only the traditional massages, but also to intervene in the energy field of the patient.
Dapatkan berasayam.
Among all of the many shamans that we encountered in Tuva, one in particular struck us for his power, Aichurek Oyun, which in the Tuvinian language means moon heart. After having made a special protection for us, she allowed us to film the funeral rites of the 49th day. This is the rite where the shaman accompanies the deceased for once and all into the afterlife, passing through the sacred fire. It's very dangerous. The shaman must have great strength to confront the spirits of the underworld, to pacify them, and to be able to come back from his journey over there. Our journey in search for new manifestations of the shamanic world continues, and for the first time we are able to see a force of the unseen. A horseman of light is coming out of the clouds and is reflected on the mountains. It's Oikon Bave, the protector of the Buryatian, that will accompany us to the faraway land of Tseren Saranbu in Mongolia. Tseren Saranbu was born in 1928, the year of the snake, in Buryatia. At the age of 3, to avoid the persecution of the Soviet regime, he and his family found refuge in Mongolia. So, since his birth, he has prayed in the ancient shamanic way. Being the son of an anti-revolutionary man, he was not allowed to go to school. At the age of 8, he became the disciple of Lama Chulchu Badsar and studied Mongolian, Tibetan, and dedicated himself to the reading of the sutras. Mongolia, since medieval times, was subjected to an intense Tibetan penetration. For Tseren Saranbu, learning Buddhist rituals was an obligated choice. But after having spent 5 years serving the Lama, at a certain point he became ill and insane. Then the Lama told him, "Your ancestors have not forgotten." In fact, from his line of descent, there were 33 Tsairang, shamans who received 13 initiations, the maximum hierarchical level. And so, at 13, he had his first initiation. Tseren Saranbu is considered the last keeper of the ancient knowledge. And Nadia Stepanova has journeyed all the way here to learn all that has been forgotten. Today is a big day for us. Tseren Saranbu has decided to let us film a great ritual. For the ritual preparation of the shamanic tree, first you hang some blue fabric as a symbol for the eternal blue sky. Here are the other symbolic gifts: the white rabbit, offered to all living creatures; the red deer, offered to the leopard, son of the taiga; the black squirrel, for all the children; and the fast white ermine for thieves. You must also hang symbols of the otter and sable, the protectors of the clan. On the branch of the birch tree you place 3 nests representing our parents, ourselves, and our children, with 3 eggs that symbolize the continuation of the lineage. Bayer, the son of Tseran Saranbu, begins to prepare the offering of mutton. He purifies it with the white food, butter. The 3 candles are a great signal. So during the ritual, you must pay attention to the way they are blown out. If they are blown out in a clockwise direction, it means that the next ritual must be done in 3 years. On the other hand, if the direction is counterclockwise, the ritual must be repeated for 3 years in a row. Tseran made his costume with his own hands. It weighs more than 70 kilos. Every symbol he forged represents his protectors, and in each representation their power is present. The ceremonial clothing has become more and more adorned with the passing of each of his 13 rituals of initiation. There are 13 levels for men and 12 for women. Each level represents a phase of knowledge, and you can only reach the next level after 3 years. Tseran, though, received his first 6 initiations, one after the next, following the wishes of his ancestors. Then the 7th and 8th in the 50s. After that date, talking about shamanism became much more dangerous because of a strong return to anti-religious politics. And so the successive initiations were given in great secrecy. These were not easy times. He celebrated the rituals during the night, and in the day hid his ceremonial clothing and ritual objects. His people saved him from the police many times, but he was imprisoned twice just the same. Then perestroika came, and finally in July of 1992, he received his 13th initiation, the maximum level. The moment has come. The ritual begins. Tseran Saranbu calls his on-god, his protectors. He calls Buhanayon, the original father. He calls Buddha Chatan, the original mother. He calls the 13 princes of Olkon. He calls the 33 Tsairang, his ancestors. The ritual he is celebrating is for Jagalan. His mother came to Tseran Saran because Jagalan's grandmother was Buddhist, while his grandfather, who comes from Baikal, had a shamanic heritage. But his family has forgotten this for a long time, and now divine punishment has struck, and his children have become blind. To give more power to his healing, Tseran Saran is invoking the shamans of his clan and his teacher, Shmid. Here she is. Shmid Udagan is inside his body. She's talking to him, and she's telling him how to heal. The on-god observed this with severity. The ritual is finished. We are at the moment of truth. Only the cup prepared by Tseren Saren will reveal if the spirits are satisfied. Yes, everything has gone well. Shamanism is a religion without books. It takes a long time to become a shaman, and you can only learn from personal experience. In the summer of 2000, we came back to Ulan-Ude in Buryatia. Nadia already follows all the stages of the ritual with precision. The offerings to the local protectors, the sacred ornaments of the birch tree, the presentation of the sacrificial offerings, just like Tseren Zarenbu has taught her. Today, she has been called here by a famous theater director, Sergei Baryanov, and his wife, in order to perform a ritual for the success of their new play about Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan is a very powerful spirit. Because of that, it is necessary to perform a ritual to free the way from obstacles. Nadia has now learned to work like the Darkat, the blacksmiths, her protectors. And during the rituals, she cures the most difficult diseases, licking a scorching hot iron. At the end of the ritual, the director and his wife are offered the richest part of the mutton, the colon stuffed with meat, a symbol of fortune. And we, as guests of honor, have the fortune to be able to taste it. Nadia is already held in the highest esteem from her people. She is the president of the Buryatian shamans, and many toasts are made in her honor. When we came to Siberia for the first time at the beginning of the 90s, it wasn't always easy to travel. The Trans-Siberian was one of the preferred modes of transportation, welcoming us with its colors and scents. The images still run before our eyes of many little unknown stations or of important railroad crossings found along our way. At times we felt like the explorers who ventured all the way here in 1600, captured by fascination for this rich and infinite land. In the summer of 2000, after having left Nadia Stepanova, we slowly climbed towards the south. Following the course of the Yenisei, we headed towards Khakassia, a Russian republic shaped like a crescent moon. Tanya, the shaman we met on Lake Baikal in 1996, greets us with joy and performs a purification ritual so that we can enter the Valley of the Princes. The entrance to the valley is marked by 2 blocks of stone, symbols of the feminine and masculine principles. If you are not pure, you will not be able to go beyond them. Everywhere in the high grass, in the bushes, just like on the stones, signs of devotion to the Tos. The ancestors are present. This very ancient kurgan from the 2nd millennium BC is one of the places chosen by the shamans to get into contact with the spirits of the earth. But first you must be able to pass through the entrance into the Valley of the Princes in order to be initiated into the powers of the underworld. With the help of Tanya and the Ti, the local gods, we are crossing the fearful threshold, and we arrive in Tuva in full festivity. It is the middle of August, and even here they celebrate the summer with the traditional celebration of Nadim. During these midsummer 3 days, in Kizil, the capital, clans from the diverse regions of Tuva gather just like in ancient times. The celebration is rich with exotic beauty, dances and parades on horseback. The men can measure and demonstrate their strength in horse racing, shooting bows and arrows, or challenging each other in the most anticipated match, wrestling, called kurei. It's a great celebration of all the Tuvinian people, where old and young participate. We are invited to the Toster, the shamanic clinic inaugurated in 1999, where the shamans are at work from 9 to 6. Ai Churek invites us to her office, where we assist in the first purification of the day. Zoya, a shaman that comes from the faraway regions of the Silver Mountains, is reading the future with the Kuvanak, the 41 magic stones used rather often here in Tuva. In the 2 following rooms, those of Chechek and Maximovich, they are purifying 2 entire families. The shamans are presented with varied problems. Here, where life is very hard, just like in ancient times, they are mainly preoccupied with solving material problems connected to daily life. Nikolai is helping an official from the museum that has problems with his colleagues at work. Vladimir, meanwhile, over the smoke of the Atish, the wild juniper of the taiga, prepares a talisman against the evil eye. Dima, a client of Ai Churek's years ago, had a lot of problems with alcoholism, and he turned to her for help. Ai Aichurek cured him, and he was able to return to a normal life. Since then, he made a lot of changes and opened a small commercial business. He has just signed an important contract and wants to avoid any problems, so he asks Aichurek to open the way for this new business. Viera comes from Moscow, where she lived through many difficult years. Then she had the fortune to come to Tuva, and here they saved her. They understood that what psychiatrists have labeled as insanity was in reality the shamanic call. Now Viera is a shaman. She's very good. In fact, she was trusted with the task of purifying Aichurek and her family. The spirits of Tuva gave us a great gift. Today they allowed us to go on pilgrimage along with 20 shamans. Even for them, it's a great adventure. They've never gathered all together before. Their mission is to accompany their Italian friends through the power places of Tuva. The first ritual, or kamlanie, as they call it here, is celebrated for the pass of Sukpak. Not far from here lived a great shaman, and this ova was constructed in her honor. The ova is a divine cup that helps defend one from natural calamities. The women begin the purification ritual with milk. The men, not far away, prepare to light the sacred fire. During the kamlanie, the spirits are invoked with the algishi, Tuvinian shamanic chants. At the ova of the streams, Aichurek invokes her spirits with the voice of the conch shell. She wants to infuse her shamans with more strength. The shamanic costumes that for 70 years have been closed in the glass of the regional museum are being worn once again, and little by little they are becoming animated. The spirits of the ancestral shamans gain strength and sing and dance in their clothing. They free their energy. They free their magic strength. During our journey, there is no lack of adventure, and at a certain point, the old bus stops. The driver begins to pray, but only the shamans can make it start again. Arriving in Bertag, the village of Aichurek, the shamans camp in the woods like in ancient times, and the people gather to be healed. There are many methods used by the shamans for curing illnesses. But for the shamans of Tuva, there is only one origin of sickness: worms. Worms are generated by many different situations, but they have a common root. They are born from the negative energy slipping inside our bodies. For example, when there are arguments, the shamans see a negative energy coming from the eyes and mouth, and it gets stuck to people. An evil look or unkind words send a black force into others. Even in very crowded places, where many people and many diverse energies gather together, there are worms. Because of that, someone who is weaker than others can become a victim. Therefore, we should always purify ourselves after having been among many people. Also, food and drinks can contain negative forces. It often happens that people become victims of alcohol or drugs because the spirits of alcohol and the sacred plants are very strong. You need to have a special capacity to use them in a sacred way. When the shaman heals, he must have a rigid behavior regarding the illness. He can't be compassionate. Illness is bad. It is blood and tears. But there is no need for pity, otherwise it will continue to advance. We are at the foot of the White Mountains. Here there are the 9 ova dedicated to the ancestors. Here the 9 shaman women were born. Aichurek's mother was one of them. She descended from a powerful line of celestial shamans from Chalama. She and her sisters had the shamanic gift. Every one of them had their special talent. One did purification with milk. Another celebrated the nighttime kamlanye, and someone else helped women when giving birth. In their honor, we hang a piece of fabric for each of the Chalama, so that the great women ancestors will listen to our prayers. Today, for the great Kamlanye, the shamans have prepared a cow skull to offer to the Ova, so that they will protect their herds. Lately, there have been animal thefts in town. To send away malignant energy that endangers the prosperity of the village, they must turn to Erlik, the god of the underworld, and attempt to negotiate the price of his clemency. At the end of the Kamlanye, Aichulek purifies with a whip. The whip, just like the torba, a short skirt made of tails and worn by the shamans, is very powerful. The people wait for the great relief of hearing it crack so that the negative energy will be burned. It is the male shamans who will bring an end to the Kamlanye. The men are the guardians of the sacred fire. They must be the last to honor it and be sure that everything is in order. The women, on their knees in a circle around the fire, purify themselves and thank the spirits of the land of Bertag on behalf of all of us. And now it's our turn to thank the spirits that have guided us on this journey that is now coming to an end. The eyes of the shamans watch us from far away to remind us of our dream, to lift the veil on an ancient and unknown world that for years has been confined to shadows. We have welcomed the stories of their souls that were searching for ears to hear them, and we have participated in their ancient ceremonies that have finally, once again, seen the light. Siberian shamanism has lived through many transformations in the last decades, but has managed to survive through dark times and oppression to deliver its unchanged teachings. We must be aware of the natural world, eternal spring of life, and have respect for the eternal blue sky and the Mother Earth.